good. I'm happy I caught it a little bit early. Otherwise, because not too many of you are listening live or watching live, you may not have had a chance to alert me. Anyway, I'm glad that we caught it early. So today we are going to do Anuvaka number 10 of Sri Rudram. So let me chant it. Drape andasaspate daridra nila lohita esham purushanam esham pashunam abhirma romo eshan kinchanamamat yate rudra shiva tanu shiva vishwaha bheshaji shiva rudrasya bheshaji tayano mida jivase imagum rudraya tavase kapardine ekshayadviraya prabharamahe matim yathana samasad yathana shamasadvipade chatushpade vishwam pushtan grame asmin nanaturam mridano rudrotano mayaskridikshayadviraya namasa vidhemate yachanchayoscha manuraya je pita tadashyama tavarudra pranitau mano mahantamutamana arpakam mana ukshantamutamana ukshitam mano vadhiv pitaram mota mataram priya manastanuvo rudraririsha manastoke tanaye mana ayushi mana goshu mano ashveshuririshaha viran mano rudrabhamito vadhir havishmanto namasa vidhemate alatte gognauta purushagne kshayadviraya sumnamasmete astu Rakshachano abhicha deva bruhyadhachana sharma yachadvibarha aha stuhi shrutangarta sadayuvanam mriganna bhimamupatnumugram mridajaritre rudrastavano anyante asmannivapantu sena aha parino rudrasya hetirvinaktu paritveshasya durmatiraghayoho avasthira magavadbhyastanushvamidhvasto kanait tanayaya mridaya midushtama shivatama shivona sumana bhava parame vriksha ayudhan nidhaya krittim vasada achara pinakam bibradagahi vikirida vilohita namaste astu bhagavaha yaste sahasragum hetayonyamasmannivapantutāha सहस्राणि सहस्रधा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीना मुखाकृधि. Okay, so that's the 10th Anuvaka, and so we should be able to finish it. I think I'm going to use the same methodology where I would not do all of the mantras, maybe a selected few, and also probably leave the reading of Swami Dayanandaji's explanation a little bit more to you, and then point out the explanations, the special explanations by Swami Maheshananji, because many of you don't have that book or many of you don't know Hindi. So I'll do it that way. And I think that interestingly enough, I was just going through the material and I find that in many cases they have somewhat different interpretations. So not erroneous, but just different. And there are a couple of reasons for it. I think the more I really study the various Mahatmas and how they present the material and so on, what I find is that a lot of what they say depends very much on their level of students. It's not as though, like for example here, we look at Swami Dayanandaji's, which I have talked about before. We look at Swami Dayanandaji's treatment of this book, Sri Rudram. It is much more Adi Daivika. It has to do with Ishvara as being separate from you. Okay? Whereas Swami Mahesharanji's book goes more into Adhyatmika, which is the analysis of Ishvara's work within you. So these are the two aspects. Okay. So that doesn't mean that Swami Dayanandaji doesn't know the Adhyatmika. It is just that he has decided that for this audience at this time, Adi Daivika is better. That's all. There's no other reason for it. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. So we will start with the very first one. Let's start with Anuvaka number 10. So here Swami Dayanandaji makes a very good point. Let me take my notes out. So I have that in front of me. Oops, I didn't mark number 10. So let me do that for easy reference. Okay. So here in introducing the Anuvaka 10, Swami Dayanandaji makes a very good point. He says that in this Anuvaka, some things are asked for to be given, and some things are asked for to be taken away. So obviously some good things that we need for our progress is asked for, and some of the problem areas that we are preventing me from making progress, please take them away. So this is the prayer. So now in this prayer, so this Anuvaka number 10 is in the form of a prayer to Sri Rudram. So in the form of a prayer, there is no namaha at the end of these verses. Like we saw before, they were double namahas, one before a mantra, one after the mantra. Kind of like as we saw that it's like a double knot to make it pakka, as we say in Hindi. So very strong. So all the namahas were there before. Here there is no namaha. The reason for that is that namaha means I am just praising Ishvara. As we have seen before, that our ability to do a stuti, a praise for Ishvara, is to pray that I understand your subtle and powerful qualities that I want to inherit myself. By appreciating Ishvara's gunas, I appreciate my own guna. And so this is the namaha is in the form of appreciation. So appreciation means that the stuti is not making him any bigger than he is already. It is to make myself bigger by making my understanding better. So this is the form of namaha. Okay, so once the namaha is done, then we are ready to ask for some things. It's very much like supposing supposing in your own life you were to approach a some very capable and powerful person, like even your local politician. Supposing you supposing you want to sponsor somebody from India, and something you are desperate in doing and no one else seems to be able to help, because you ask the immigration department and they say, well, just take a ticket, it might take you 2-3 years to get this person. So you ask a senator, your own senator, and says, can I please have an audience with you? I have a special request. I have a very loved one, my older mother, who really is, there's nobody else to help her. I need to get her out. I can't wait for 3 years like the immigration department is saying. Is there any way you can help me? I know you have helped other people. I know how influential you are. So look at this. So in fact, the way you would do that is that you first introduce yourself and say, I'm such and such, and I have come to you for help because I believe you have been very helpful, you are very influential. So this is the namaha. So then the senator will say, okay, good. What is it that you want? Then you say the prayer. And say, I've got this problem and I need to get my mother over from India, and so etc., etc. So all the namahas that we have done in the past are praising the Ishvara by saying, I know how influential you are, how powerful you are. And now Ishvara says, okay. All right, now I'm happy that you understand my powers. What do you want now? So this is the prayer for wanting things in my life. This is the Anuvaka number 10. So Swami Dayanand points that out. It's a very beautiful introduction to Anuvaka number 10. All right, so the first verse is Drape andasaspate daridran nila lohita. So here comes a difference between the two Swamis on how they interpret the word drapa. Okay, right away just look at it. So if I go back to Swami Dayanandji's so Drape on page 206, Swami Dayanandji says, O Lord, who gives undesirable results. In fact, let me read the whole paragraph of this first word. So on page 207, he says, O Lord, the giver of undesirable results, the Lord of food, who has no possessions. So Daridran, who has no possessions, who looks very poor, who is blue and red colored, Nila Lohita. May you not frighten the beings. Esham means these, right in front, it's not later, but whatever I possess right here in front of me. Esham Purushanam, Esham Pashunam. So these people that I have with me, and the four-legged people, animals that I have as my, in other means possessions, both friends as well as wealth. So, Esham Purushanam, may you not frighten the beings and the cattle. Let them not get destroyed or be afflicted by diseases. Esham Pashunam Mabhehe Mabhehe. Mabhehe means please do not frighten them. Araha Maha Esham Kincha anamamat. Maybe do not get them destroyed or afflicted by diseases. So this is the interpretation that Swami Dayanandji have, starting with the word drape. So drape means the one who is the giver of undesirable results. Okay? Alright. Now let's go to Swami Maheshanandji. He says that in the Shastra, drapa refers to a muddy mess. Swamp, almost like a swamp, where there is so much water with mud and so on and so forth, something which is difficult to negotiate. You cannot walk through really muddy water easily. So he has given that interpretation, and quite frankly, I've seen that Swami Maheshanandji has given more detailed references to the various citing of words in the Shastras. He's very deep into it. And so he says that drapa means a muddy mess. So what he says is, again he goes back to the Adhyatmika view, that this world which is created by Maya Shakti, my confusion and my mistakes and so on, how I look at the whole world is like a muddy mess. He gives this, he says, this is drape means Maya Shabala Brahma. These are the expressions used very often in the Shastras. Shabala Brahma, Maya Shabala Brahma. So Brahma who is endowed with a very difficult to cross the world. He is not endowed with it himself. So that's the whole thing. Both Brahman, which is not different from me, is really not endowed, but it appears to be endowed with a muddy mess, with the swamp of the world which is difficult to cross. So in a way it's both a negative connotation, but the difference here is that it is not an external Ishvara who's giving us problems. It is just that the way I'm leading my life without completely understanding the very essence of who I am, I become endowed, I become engaged with this mess. An example, for example, is the exactly the same thing that happens in a dream. In the dream, you have nothing to do with any of the problems that you superimpose yourself upon in the dream. You may be, you may be well off, you're doing well, everything is okay, but in the dream somehow, because of some reflected past, you are struggling and you don't have enough money and you're begging for it from people and people are not helping you. Some kind of a dream you put on to yourself and you suffer because of that. So it's nothing to do with the fact that they not belong to you, but through your mental projection, you have taken on the system that this is a mess for me. So something like that. So he says, drape, that I am also in this muddy mess, and not the then Swami Maheshanandji makes a very beautiful point. He says, just like this is a good point really it comes up at various points in the Shastra. See, this is a very, whenever I say beautiful, it means important. I don't mean physical beauty or anything, just a word that I use. means something very, very important, something to really understand, which is, and so this is the whole sense of the drape andasaspate, all of these, means that I am in the middle of a swamp, muddy swamp, and I don't have any footing even. And if I am that, I cannot get out of it by myself. The more I try to get out, the deeper I go into it, and I am not able to really get out. But I still have to make an effort to relieve myself from the hold of the samsara. Of course, I have to make an effort, but I cannot do the effort by myself. What I need is someone outside the swamp and who gives me a helping hand to pull me out of the swamp. This is the important point. You know, sometimes we talk about the grace of Ishvara. You know, I need Ishvara's grace. This is an important point to see. We are not going to be free of the samsara by ourselves. Not going to be able to do that. You cannot say, you know, I really like what I'm doing. I am studying all these books. I'm studying this book and I'm studying this book and I'm attending classes and I'm doing bhakti and I'm doing puja and so on and so forth. And I am really feeling good. It's something that is really helping me. I'm on the right path and I feel good. I think I've got all the things that I need and I'm feeling better, doing better. Not going to take you very far. Why? Because you might think that you are making progress because you are reaching maybe some drier ground, but it is still a swamp. You're not going to be able to get out. And so exactly the same sentiment, which is karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Of course you have to do the right karmas, you have to do the right effort and so on. But you need the grace of Ishvara to decide when can you be free. You cannot be doing it yourself. You have to submit yourself to it. And so, you know, one can have a question, why not? Why can't we do it myself? I'm capable, I've got the right ideas and so on and so forth, and I'm working hard. Why can't I do it? You know, this is an important thing to see. You know, the reason you cannot do it is because all of these efforts that we are speaking of are based on the false identification with the jiva, that I am a jiva. I am a strong jiva. Jiva means a person, a human being in this case, any being, but here a human being. So I'm a strong human being and I'm a good human being and I'm doing the right things and so on. And so all of the progressive steps that I'm taking all spring from jivatvam. This itself is false. You are not a jiva. As long as you think you are a jiva, you are a mess. It's like saying that I am a room space and I'm going to really make sure that my walls are strong and I clean the place and I'm not going to keep it smelly and I'm going to be okay and so on, and I'm doing well. I know some of the other people I see are having problems, but my room space is very clean. Hey, you are not a room space. Until you understand, you are not even a room. You are the whole. This is only Ishvara. Jiva is not even there. So you can go up to a certain point and then say, I need your help. Please pull me out. So this is the sentiment. This is a very beautiful sentiment of this. This is what Swami Maheshananji pointed out, that I know. So in fact, it's very interesting. He uses the word in the Daridran. Daridran, which means that he doesn't have any possessions of his own, very poor. So it's interesting, normally you ask for a help from a rich person because he has something to give it to you. You don't go to a homeless person and say, can you please help me? Because the fellow doesn't have anything to do. Here, however, Ishvara is the ultimate homeless person. Ultimate homeless. How? Because he is the one who is responsible for the mess, but he is outside of the mess. And so by asking for help, you want to be outside of the mess just like he is. In fact, you want to dissolve yourself into Ishvara. And so this is the mantra basically. You can read some of the other one aspect of it, or I just want to give you the overall sense of what that is. Then the next one is so Yate Rudra Shiva Tanuhu Shiva Vishwa Ahame Bheshaji. So very simple, it just means that I know that your Tanuhu means that your form, your body is Shiva. So Shiva means this is a feminine form of Shiva, being Shiva. And so this means your body is clean. You are not smeared by this muddy mess. And this is the body I want. I don't want to be involved with this old problems and so on. So the rest of it I'm just going to, just because I want to finish this today, I won't go through all the letters and words, just give you the overall sense. Okay, then the next one is Imagums. No. Yeah. Imagum Rudraya Tavase Kapardine Kshayadviraya Prabharamahe Matim. Right? So the sequences in the two books are slightly different because Swami Maheshananji not only does both Krishna Yajurveda as well as Shukla Yajurveda. So the sequences are different. So he's got a very much more challenging thing. He's trying to reconcile both of them. They're pretty much the same, but the sequences are slightly different. So here, in just reading some of the translations from Swami Maheshananji, Imam Rudraya, Hey Rudra, Tavase, Tavase means Prachinatamaha, means the oldest, and may the oldest one. So here the prayer is that you are the oldest and also the most powerful. You have the most influence. Something just popped into my head. So when I was a student in Amritsar, I have an older sister, 3 years old, 3 years older, and she used to also stay with us in our grandfather's house. So the Tavase Prachina Tama, that reminded me of it. So there was a new house being either constructed, they were putting a new story in the house next door to us. And there were a lot of these workers who were kind of blue collar workers who were working on this. So when my sister would pass through, they would give some remarks to her. She was a young, she must have been about 15, 16. I was maybe 12 or 13. And so when she would pass through, all these people will whistle at her or make some remarks and say, oh, beautiful, this, that, or the other. And she, of course, she didn't like it because she just was passing through. So my uncle, who must have been about 30 or so, he would sometimes ask them, hey, don't do that, okay? Oh, this is not proper for them. But this method continued. And one day, my grandfather, who was in his 60s, tall figure, he was also a Vedanta teacher and also a doctor. He had several different functions. He owned a family, a factory, cloth factory, and he was also a Ayurvedic doctor, homeopathic doctor, and Vedanta teacher also. So when everybody complained to him, he says, okay, let me take care of it. He took his stick out, walked up to the house next door, and he says, listen, I'm giving you a warning. He was shouting, I remember that. He says, if you ever say anything bad to my granddaughter, I'm going to break your leg. Is that clear? Do you all understand it? They were all quiet and they were all hammering things and so on. After that, we never had any problems. So here, Swami Maheswaranji says that sometimes the oldest people have the most authority. So here, the oldest person in the whole world is Sri Rudram. Because he was there before he created the world, so he's older than the world. And also the most powerful. So this is why it says, Imam Rudraya Tavase Kapardine. Kapardine means matted hair. One with the matted hair means that, again, another way of looking at Daridran, who himself doesn't have any agenda. He's free to help others. So, Kshayadviraya Prabharamahe Matim. So we are just devoted in praying for you. Please help me. It's not easy for me to leave this life. And I know that I wasn't even thinking of you at one time. But now that I know that you are there, who is my protector, and so on and so forth, I need your help to push me out of this as quickly as possible. Take this, screen the call. Just 1 second. Yeah, this is an important call because I bought a car with some problems and the general manager was not okay, got it. Thank you. Sorry about that. I'll reply to him later on. So that's the situation. on this. This is the sense of this particular mantra. Kapardine kshayadviraya prabharaya maimatim. Then the next one is Mridanaha Rudra Uta Naha Mayaskridihi Kshayadviraya Namasa Vidhemate. So Namasa Vidhemate means that with folded hands I am Vidhema. This is an important word, Vidhema. So Vidhema means the one who is following the Vidhi. With folded hands, I am following your instructions. So here, what that means is, the Vidhi means that living my life properly based on what has been instructed to me by the wise people. The whole Shastra, I mean, this is exactly what we need to do. We are living in a Kali Yuga where even our parents also didn't know what was to be done in life, how to lead life. So for instance, this is true for, this is somewhat partially true for me, not completely true, but partially true for me, that that our family and so on were still much more interested in that I make some successful person out of me by becoming a lawyer or a doctor. In the old days, they will say, forget about becoming a successful person, you study the Shastra first. This is how the people used to send their kids to Gurukulam. And then after they came back, then you join the family thing or some other college and so on. Here there were no Gurukulus in our place, Gurukula. So Vidhi means relearning the Shastra, Satyam Vada, Dharmanchara. And so all the instructions, this is called Vidhi. So now the folded hands are that I am not sure that I could really understand what the Vidhi was, but now I do. Late in my life, whatever it is, and I am now with my folded hands, I pray to you that please do not give any more problems. May I not create any more problems for myself by not living right. It's a little late, I understand that, but maybe not too late. I am still willing to change my thinking, the way I approach people, by controlling my emotions, anger, and being upset, and all those kinds of things. I'm willing to do that because I want your total blessings to me. So this is so this is one of the things that Swami Dayanandaji was so good in pointing out. He says, there are a lot of prayaschita karmas that one can do. Prayaschita karma means remedial action. From a simple thing that you ate some wrong things yesterday. You are not sure that you should have eaten, but in the emotional aspects of enjoying or whatever, you overate or something. And you had some stomach problems or heart problems or gas or whatever. You can take a remedial, some antacid pills or something like this to say, I'm sorry, I overdid it, now I'm willing to do so. So similarly, there out of all the karmas, there are some prayashchita karmas that are very meaningful. Rudram, he used to say this over and over again, is the most effective prayashchita karma. Most effective out of any of the prayashchita karmas. Mental, of course. This is not a physical prayashchita karma like eating antacid pills. But really most of our problems are not physical, they are mental. My wrong thinking, my wrong attitudes, etc. And by chanting Rudram regularly and understanding the meaning even more so, this becomes a very important prayashchita karma. So a lot of the specifics that we are doing, which I may not have time to do because I want to finish it today, number 10. But the sense of that is that please forgive me if I am not following the vidhi. But now he says, I am following the mrida no rudrota mayaskridihi kshayadviraya namasa vidhemate. Let me see if there's some other things that I need to say. Yeah. Then the second part of that is Yachancha yoscha manurayaje pita tadashyama tava rudra pranitau. So here he says that Yaha manuhu ayaje, ya manuhu pita ayaje tad ashyama tava rudra pranitau. Yat sham, yachancha means yat sham cha yascha manuhu ayaje pita. So this is a very interesting thing. So what is said is human beings are called manavaha. Manavaha is another word used for human being, both male and female, of course. Manavaha means the children of Manu. So Brahmaji, when he created in a new kalpa, when new people are created, it is the first one created is Manu. Manu is the one who is the Pita. He is the ultimate Pita. Actually, Pita Mahaha is Brahmaji, Hiranyagarbha. But his son is Manu, who is our Pita, so to speak, our father, so to speak. And the Manu who also was given instructions and he understood exactly how the vidhi should be. Manuhu ayaje. Yeah, I saw that somewhere. Ayaje. Yeah, moksha. Ayaje means he acquired moksha. Yeah, this is an important thing to see. So, the ultimate aim of all human beings is to acquire the same freedom as Ishvara has already. We can talk about this in more detail some other time, but that's the ultimate objective of all human beings, is to gain moksha. If you don't gain moksha, you've sort of wasted this very precious life. And you are given another opportunity to do so. But there's also a possibility that you can devalue yourself. You can, because if you just go into wrong tendencies, then Ishvara says, I think this person wants to be an animal. So it's very well written in Shastras. There are a lot of people who say that once you have achieved human nature, you can never go back to an animal. But that's not true in our Shastras. You can actually go backwards as well. And so the important opportunity for us to take care of in this life is to gain ultimate freedom. And Manu had done so. So this is a citing of the fact. He says, Yat shancha. Shancha means sham karoti, means kalyana karoti. One who is the acquirer of shanti, of kalyanam. Yascha manuhu ayaje. The one who has led to complete freedom. That pita. Tad ashyama tava rudra pranitau. That is what I want to do. So by my prayer, may you understand that my clarity in life is there, and this is what I want to do. So something like that is the basic aspects of this verse. Then so in the next one, or two or three of them, is again the different aspects pointed out by Swami Dayanandji and Swami Maheshanandji, and I'll do that. So let me read it first. So now he says, Mano Mahantam Uta Manaha Arbakam Manaha Ukshatam Uta Manaha Ukshitam Manaha avadhihi pitaram mota mataram priyama manaha tanuvaha rudra ririshaha. So he says that may you please protect my family, my belongings, my children, my grandchildren. May you make them all well and make sure they don't go into any problems. Okay? So this is the Adi Daivika view. Again, because I did the Namaskara and previously, now I'm asking for a prayer. And the prayer is, please, just like we do, may you lead happy birthday, may you have a happy, and we also say a healthy life. Because we recognize that good health is more important than wealth. And so we say that. So this is exactly the prayer that is done in here. So here there is a whole range of people that is mentioned, from ukshitam, from newborn babies onwards. For example, when our granddaughter was born, I'm very happy that both my daughter-in-law and my son believed in the prayers. So even when she was still pregnant, they started to do pujas. They went to the temple and got the blessings, and we were very happy that the child is healthy, and so really just the range of different ages of the children, etc., is all given. Now, Swami Maheshanandji takes it a step more. He doesn't simply say, protect my young ones and family and so on and so forth. What he's saying is, this is much more in terms of my own status as someone who was relatively lost in the process but now I'm awakening. There is some newborn vidya that I am acquiring, some new knowledge that I'm acquiring. It's like a newborn. And this new knowledge needs to be nourished and protected. So this is what he's taking that adhyatmikam view. So he says, by the grace of Ishvara, and he's even saying that I need the help of a guru, continued help, because I'm not done yet. And hopefully the guru, who's a couple of steps ahead of me, can protect me. This is how Ishvara works. So may, with the help of the guru, my newborn knowledge, like a new child, be protected. And not only that, but, so he says, this is interesting how he says, Manas toke. Toke means the young ones. Tanaye. So tanaye means my body, my health. Ayushi goshu na ashveshu ririshaha. So goshu here means jnanendriya. And ashve means karmendriya. So this is all an adhyatmika view. Not external cows and horses and young ones and so on, which you could also be doing it. It's okay. But ultimately it's going a step forward and saying, protect my own, what I am endowed with, because I'm struggling to understand the vidya. So don't let the light go off. I'm just lighting a brand new lamp, and we keep protected it until it becomes stable by itself. This is the view that Swami Maheshananji is taking. So so these are the ones that, and then also make sure that you they don't get into problems. So the 3 or 4 verses, mantras with respect to that. Then we go to this I want to make a quick comment on this. So here there is a mantra here which says Raksha cha naha adhicha deva bruhyadhacha na sharmaha yaccha dvibarhaha. So without going through the individual words, let me give you the overall sense, and those you can go to the book by Swami Dayanandji and get the individual words. So dvibarhaha means, so this is a prayer for both types of sukham. So this is a kind of like an ambitious prayer. Ambitious prayer means that not only should you give me moksha, ultimately moksha, but while I am engaged in the process of getting moksha, may you give me sukham in my life. So both aihika sukham, here itself, and amushmika sukham means thereafter. Thereafter means it could be videha mukti and I am not bothered by anything. Or it could be a Swarga Mukti, Krama Mukti, or that can be Amushmika Sukham. But while I am still involved in these struggles to understand, may you keep me healthy, may you do not create a problem. This is exactly what happens. You find that there are people who are well-meaning and they are all doing a great job in learning Vedanta, but they develop a physical problem and they are not able to continue in spite of the fact that they want to continue. You see, here's the thing, either you don't have the ruchi, you don't have the right desire to learn Vedanta, or you can have a physical problem. And both are really not conducive to doing it. So here, Dvibarha means both types of Sukham may I seek and may you protect it from me. Beautiful. Okay. Then the next one is, I'm going to go to Stuhi Shrutam Garta Sadam Yuvanam Mriganna Bhimam Apahutnu Mugram. Stuhi Shrutam Garta Sadam Yuvanam. Here, the commentary by Swami Dayanand Ji is very appropriate. I really like his approach to this, and this is given on page number 227, 228 of Swami Dayanand Ji's book on this one. Stuhi Shrutam Garta Sadam. So Stuhi means please praise. It's asking someone to praise. It doesn't say I praise, it is saying you please praise. Who is he saying that to? Saying that to the mind. Oh my mind, may you pray. So here Swami Chinmananji used to say that. I still remember his talks on this. He says, he gave a very beautiful example. Let me give you the example first, and then I will tell you the point he was making, and then connect it to Stuhi. Swami Chinmananji used to say that what happens is that in the Sringeri and the other Shankaracharya's mathas, how the new person is chosen, because it's a continuum. One person, one Shankaracharya becomes old, and then the whole santati has to be preserved, and a new Shankaracharya is appointed. Who is that going to be? So they observe the kids very carefully, and it has a male person. It's not a female person who is appointed as the Matha Adhipati. That's the way the tradition is. They can be, they can become Swaminis and so on, but as far as the main Mathapati is concerned, it's a male. So they choose a young boy and observe him, his nature and so on and so forth. And finally they all make a decision, this is the person who I think has all the qualities and is qualified to become the next Shankaracharya. The kid may be only 8 years old. He needs a lot of training and education. So what they say is that once you appoint, and they already appoint that person. They just say this is like Upanayanam of special kind. I don't know all the details. But he says, okay, you are the next Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya means that you have Brahma Vidya. Now they cannot teach, so it's like a small Ishvara sitting there. You cannot teach Ishvara anything. So what they do, they have a bunch of students that they give, and they ask this guy to sit on the side. They don't address this person because you cannot directly address him. But you just teach the rest of the students, but the real teaching is meant for this young kid. Okay, so this is the one. So Swami Chinmayananda used to say that as a teacher, you are addressing a bunch of students. But you know, the main person that you are really teaching is your own mind. He is the potential Shankaracharya. Now, I find that advice to be very good. I keep telling many of you that really you don't have any idea how beneficial these classes that I'm teaching are to myself. Because you have a mind that can be doing anything, but you keep your focus of your own mind on this beautiful teaching. Even though you're not sitting there by saying, oh mind, do this and so on, but you're doing it on the side. So this is the meaning of stuhi. Stuhi means, oh mind. So then garta sadam. Garta sadam means deep inside of you, your own hridaya, your own mind, all the doubts that I have. And so you address that and say, make sure that you do the proper prayer. So that is the meaning of that. Then on page number 108 of Swami Maheshananji, so I might this. So here he takes this verse called Parinaha Rudrasya Hetihi Vrinaktu Paritu Veshasya Paritu Eshasya Durmatihi Raghayoho Durmatihi Aghayoho Avasthira Magavadbhyas Tanushva Midhvasta Tokaya Tanayaya Mridaya. Yeah. Parino Rudrasya Hetihi Vrinaktu. So he says, if we look at the word Parinaha Rudrasya, let me just quickly go through Swami Dayanandaji's explanation of this, and then some special things that Swami Maheshanandaji is pointing out, and then we'll be done with this verse, and probably with almost to the end of the class. Let me find it. Stuhi Shrutam, this is done. Then, yeah. Parinaha Rudrasya Hetihi. Oh, okay, yeah, that was. So, Parinaha is connected with Vrinaktu. So, it becomes Parivrinaktu. Parivrinaktu means to leave. I was confused about that. So, you put in two words that are separate into a single word. Parivrinaktu. So, let me read the whole one here from Swami Dayanandaji. May the destructive weapons of Rudra be kept away from us. Let the destructive power of the Lord, shining in the thought of destruction, go away from him. O Lord, bestower of boons to the devotees, we worship you. May you withdraw the unfailing weapons from us who are worshipping you. May you give happiness to our progeny and sons and daughters. That's what he said. Okay. Okay. So now this is the Adi Daivika view. Now let us look at the Adhyatmika view of Swami Maheshananji. So very often you will see, if you read the paragraph, those that are reading Hindi in this book, so what he would give is, first he would give the Adi Daivika view. He will do that most of the time, not all 100%, but most of the time he will give the Adi Daivika view, just like Swami Dayanandji. Then he would start the Adhyatmika view with the word Vastutaha. It took me a while to recognize this very subtle change of scenery where he would say Vastutaha. Vastutaha in English would mean in reality. Just, sometimes you'll say really speaking. You can talk about something, general topic, and then you say, really speaking, can I tell you what it really means? That's the sense of called Vastutaha. Vastutaha means that, here comes a Adhyatmika view. Sure enough, he doesn't disappoint. He says, the weapon of Rudram, the one that we are saying, keep the weapons away and so on, is my own ignorance. And I can really relate to it. Because without an understanding of our own reality, I'm lost. We are lost. We are just, this is like a dream thing where you're just moving around, not knowing what's happening. And so you get into a lot of problems, knowingly and unknowingly. And that is the weapon of the Rudra. As this is from Swami Maheshananji. He says, Vastutaha, the anger of Rudra is ignorance. And he says, please make sure that does not lead me to another birth. Because there's a lot of things that have to be happening between one birth and the other. The delay, uncertainty, all kinds of things. So here we have a chance to do some remedial things. May you keep the ignorance away. May I really, now that I am seeing some streams of light coming through, may they become very firm in me, and may I really follow the light to a point where I am myself become the very source of light, so to speak. In other words, I am fully engulfed in light. And in fact, it's like you follow a light where you put your own wick next to it and then you glow. Now you can teach others and so on. So that's the sense of it. And then he says that this sthirata, that there is a sthirata, let me see where it is. Avasthira, yes. Avasthira Magavat Dhanashvastva. Magavat bhyastanushva. So avasthira means may I gain stability. And so here Swami Maheswaranji makes a point that only by Shiva Prasada Sthita Prajna Sambhav hai. Only by the same thing we were talking about earlier, that the sure getting out of the muddy mess is only possible through the steady hand of Ishvara. May I be given that so I become just as steady. So just like, supposing imagine there is a big long stick from which a person is helping you get out of the mess. So he or she is holding it very firm, and you also need to be very firm so that it doesn't slip out of it. Oftentimes we see the same thing is true in sometimes there are eddy currents in the ocean and people get swept out. But finally, if some help is given, they hold out a stick to the person and say, just hold on to this stick. And so this steadiness of holding on to the stick, this mental steadiness, this is really mental steadiness, alone can give me the moksha that I seek. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done. Now, if there's something, let us see. There's some more commentary, but there's no new concept that I can think about bringing out. So that completes the Anuvaka number 10. And I want to really just finish one Anuvaka every class. So I probably have left out some details. So forgive me for that. You have the books to go to. So you can do that on your own. So with that, I close today's class. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Harihi Om. Santi Kumar, Panna. Yeah, sorry about the sound. Natalia, Satish Jalota, all good, all four of you. Santi Kumar says, literally also crossing a swamp is very difficult because the leg sinks in the deeper and the other one next. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole idea. Yep. So thank you all for watching, and all my prayers and blessings. We'll see you next week. Hari Om.